Today we're cooking tre piccoli porcellini. Okay, welcome to Cooking with Tara. This show is about making my take on a porchetta. A porchetta requires that you take an entire suckling pig, debone it, and then stuff it with a whole bunch of stuff, and then slow roast it over a number of hours. Now, since we don't have a whole village to eat one of those, and frankly, I don't know where I'd even find a suckling pig for that purpose, what we're doing instead is taking a pork tenderloin, butterflying it, stuffing it, and then wrapping it with bacon and roasting it. So that's what we're doing today, and so thank you for joining me for Cooking with Tara. So here's a finished piccoli porcellini. It's bacon on the outside, pork tenderloin wrapped around a sausage, and broccoli rabe filling with some pine nuts and cheese in it. And so we start out with cooking the broccoli rabe. This is greens that, believe it or not, you can find in most grocery stores. It's a member of the broccoli family, sort of, and it's delicious cooked with garlic and olive oil, aglio olio. So we're going to cook the garlic a little bit in some olive oil with some red pepper flakes, and there's one cardinal rule here: you do not burn the garlic. That is a cardinal sin in Italian cooking, and an Italian grandmother would take you to task if you slightly burn the garlic. It makes it bitter. So we're going to cook the garlic, but not burn it. So I've got that started, and I've rinsed the broccoli rabe, and I've left it wet so that when I put it in the pan, it's going to steam in some of the water that's still on it from rinsing. And that will stop the cooking of or stop the garlic from burning as well. So it'll cool down the pan a little bit. So here we go. The broccoli rabe goes in, and we're just trying to wilt this down. It's going to have plenty of time to cook in the center, but I want to reduce the size down because we're going to stuff the pork with it. And if it's too big and then it shrinks down, it would not produce the result that we're looking for. A little bit of salt helps draw the water out, also pre-seasons this one element in the recipe. And again, we're going to look here to make sure that the garlic is still okay. I know how this turns out because I do this a lot, so the garlic's going to be fine. Going to hit this with some tongs, move it around a little bit, put a lid on, and now it's going to steam. And this happens pretty quickly. You'll see that the size of that head of broccoli rabe is going to be reduced rather rapidly. Depends on your broccoli rabe, depends on your pan, depends on how much heat, depends on how much steam. So there's no rule of thumb on how many minutes this will take. You just look, and when it's wilted down nicely, it's done. So here we go. That's the look that you're going for. Is the leaves have wilted down. They've picked up nice flavor from the garlic and the red pepper flakes and the olive oil. You notice that garlic is getting a little toasted, but it's not burning. We're going to use the same pan and toast some pine nuts. Now, pine nuts, probably on a pound for pound basis, are some of the most expensive nuts in the world. I think they run about $22 a pound. But you don't need a whole lot of them, and they don't weigh all that much. So this is about a quarter of a cup that I'm going to put in the pan. I keep them in the freezer. They keep for a very long time in the freezer, and they're just as nice and fresh when you take them out of the freezer and toast them up as the day that they were purchased. And a little drizzle of olive oil to help the toasting process along. Again, these burn very, very easily, and if you burn them, they taste terrible. So again, we're looking for a little toasted, little color, warm them through, and that brings the flavor out, but no burning. You'll see that they change very, very quickly. You really do have to stay on top of them to prevent the burning. Okay, see the little brown spots on there? We've got some nice color, but nothing is burned. All right, now I've got some Italian sausage. Now this is a sweet sausage. You could use hot sausage, any sausage of your choosing, really. This is your dish. You can create it however you wish. But I would get some really good Italian sausage. You notice this is partially cooked already. I started cooking it in the oven, then decided I have this nice hot pan here. Why don't I take it out where I can see what's going on and work with it? So again, little drizzle of extra virgin olive oil. Always use good olive oil. It adds flavor. It's probably the healthiest fat you could possibly consume other than possibly fresh fish oil. And this tastes good, whereas the fish oil, not so much. Again, I'm just looking to put some color on this and to have it done. This will be in the center of the roll. And we're going to get the center of that roll up to 140 degrees. So everything would be cooked in any event. But I like to just get a little bit of color on it. It helps to produce that Maillard effect, the caramelization, also of some of the substances within the sausage. Okay, now here we have the pork tenderloin. I've already cleaned this up a little bit. I've taken some silver skin off of it and trimmed it a little bit. They come in different sizes and frankly slightly different shapes as well. So what I'm doing is butterflying this by starting with just about a third of its width, and then I'm taking a second cut in. I'm told some places the butcher in the meat department will do this for you, or if you buy it at a butcher shop, you can have it done for you. It's really not that hard, and you don't have to achieve perfection with this because we're going to beat on it pretty good. And it's not like some stuffed recipes where you have to have no holes in the meat at all. This, frankly, and you'll see there actually will be a hole in this one eventually from beating on it, and it just doesn't matter. So don't be too critical. You don't want to cut through. You do want it to retain its shape. So here I have my cutting board with a flexible cutting board on top of it. I really like these flexible cutting boards for preserving the wooden cutting board, and also because they're just easy to clean, they're easy to sanitize, and you'll see that I'll leave the meat on this one. When I go to my next step, I'll just use a second cutting board, and gives me a lot of flexibility. So here I've been beating on it for a while. You see that one end is split open a little bit. That's perfectly fine. And when I've got it nice and thin, I'm guessing I've got that down maybe a 1/4 inch thickness. I'm going to grate a little. This is a locatelli, little pecorino romano cheese that we're grating on top of it. And that just gives it that little bit of a funky cheese flavor in the middle. Please buy a solid block of really good cheese and get the imported. It's so much better. Really, they have laws in Italy about what you can do with cheese that are way different from U.S. cheese. So high quality cheese, Italian cheese, is going to come from Italy. Okay, we'll give this a little sprinkle of, I've got some good kosher salt and a grind of black pepper. And then we can start to fill it with all of those other ingredients that we cooked already. We'll start out with a layer of pinoles. Now, the fillings that I cooked are actually for 2 of these. My pork tenderloins came 2 to a package, and as long as I'm doing it, why not do 2? So I cooked a full head of the broccoli rabe, 4 sausages, and somewhere around a 1/2 cup of those pinoles, I guess, is closer to it. And you divide that in half and you got enough for 2. I do find that these pork tenderloins are different in size and thickness, and so when they're butterflied out, you may want more or less filling depending upon the size. Here I've given the broccoli rabe a rough chop. You can see those nice chunks of golden garlic that are in there. You can't see the pepper flakes, but those are in there. So everything has been seasoned and everything has been cooked with the exception of the outside layer. Now we've got the pork loin just wrapping around all of those goodies. Okay, so the pork tenderloin is the second of the three little pigs, and here comes the third. This is Wright's thick cut bacon. I'm a big fan of Wright's bacon, and they are not a sponsor. I don't take, any funds from them. This is free advertising. Wright's, you really make great bacon. That's all you got to do for me. So it is thick cut. How many slices you're going to need, I cannot predict. It depends upon the length of your tenderloin once you've pounded it out. And again, what I find is that different tenderloins are different lengths after they've been pounded. So here I'm taking 4 slices. I'm going to spread them out a little bit. And I'm leaving the ends uncovered because I'm going to put a slice on top that will cover the ends up. Now occasionally I come up with a smaller diameter roll, and I've been able to do a kind of a weave with the bacon on top, which is fun. If you're artistic, knock yourself out here. All right, now typically what would happen at this point is you'd tie this up with butcher twine and bake it that way, but I wanted to keep the shape and I didn't want to mess with the twine, and I also felt that it would benefit from being sealed while it went through its first stage of cooking. So this is a sheet of that heavy-duty Reynolds wrap. They call it broiler foil. It's the larger size as well, so you've got plenty of room, and it's a thicker, heavier foil. And what I'm going to do is form a watertight pouch that this will cook in. I'm afraid that thinner foil might not perform as well. So I always keep a roll of this, the heavy-duty Reynolds wrap around for things like this. I'm also using the foil itself to form the roll and to hold its shape. You can see that this is heavier than usual foil. So I've folded up the ends, and now we've got a nice watertight pouch. And I'm squeezing the air out, and again using the foil to shape that roll. And then this is going to go in the oven at 350 degrees for about an hour. What I'm looking for is 140 degree internal temperature. So here you can see I've got my digital thermometer. I've checked it. It is in fact 140 degrees. Now you can easily do this ahead and then let it rest for half hour, 45 minutes, and then just, if you're doing this for guests, you can finish it after the guests arrive. Now, everything is cooked, but that bacon doesn't look too appetizing in its current state. So what we're going to do is put this on a air fryer tray, that elevated grid work, and pop it in the air fryer at 400 degrees and turn that bacon a nice golden brown. I've got my bear claws that I got for Christmas. Just lift that up. Again, at 140 degrees, everything is cooked and it's nice and hot. So this step is mostly cosmetic, and there you can see when it comes out of the oven. Oh my. Oh yeah. Look at that. There it is, plated up with an interesting vegetable medley for dinner. And we like this stuff so much, and it works for any kind of a meal, and it's so versatile. If you have one of these cooked in the refrigerator, you can do lots of things with it, like maybe have it for breakfast the next day. So it's pork after all, and it's sausage, and it's bacon, so why not have it with some eggs the next day? So thanks again for joining me. I hope that you'll click subscribe on the YouTube channel and let friends know about this so that we can build an audience for this show. My goal is to get lots and lots of people having fun cooking in the kitchen, making it their happy place, cooking good homemade meals that are healthy. And the only way we can do that is to spread the word. So click subscribe, spread the word, and I'll see you again soon. Thanks.